I still remember the exact moment. It was 11:47 p.m. I was sitting in my apartment wearing sweatpants that had officially become business casual because I worked from home. My coffee was cold, my bank account was sad, and my accountant had just sent me a message that made me question every financial decision I'd made for the last 3 years. The message said, "Wait, you've never claimed any of these expenses?" At first, I thought he was joking. Then he sent a list. 17 things. 17 perfectly legal freelancer expenses I had been paying for every month and completely forgetting to claim. What happened next made me feel both incredibly smart and unbelievably stupid at the same time. And honestly, I wish that was the most expensive mistake I made that year. Because 3 weeks later, something happened that nearly gave me a heart attack.
A few years ago, I thought I had freelancing completely figured out. I was a freelance video editor. Nothing glamorous, just me, a laptop, too many browser tabs, and a caffeine addiction powerful enough to violate several international treaties. Most of my clients came from Upwork, referrals, and random people who somehow found me through the internet's magical ability to connect strangers. Some months, I'd make $8,000. Other months, I'd make $800, which is basically freelance income in a nutshell. One month, you're a business owner. The next month, you're Googling, "Can adults survive exclusively on instant noodles?" I had escaped the traditional 9-to-5. I had freedom, flexibility, no boss, no commute, no mandatory team-building exercises. But there was one tiny problem. I had absolutely no idea how freelancer taxes actually worked. And that ignorance was quietly costing me thousands. I didn't realize it then, but the money leak had already started. Like most freelancers, I focused on making money, not keeping it. Every time a payment landed in my account, I felt like I'd won the lottery. Client pays $2,000. Me? I'm rich! Then rent arrived. Then groceries. Then software subscriptions. Then taxes. Then life. And suddenly I was eating frozen pizza while watching YouTube videos titled, "How to Build Wealth." The irony was impressive. The weird thing is that I tracked income obsessively. Every dollar, every invoice, every client payment. But expenses? Not so much. I treated them like background noise, which is exactly why what happened next caught me completely off guard.
One afternoon, a freelancer friend called me. He sounded suspiciously happy. Nobody sounds that happy during tax season. That's usually a warning sign. He said, "Dude, how much are you writing off?" I responded with confidence. "Everything." Pause. "What do you mean, everything?" "You know, my laptop." Another pause. A longer one. The kind doctors make before delivering bad news. He said, "That's it?" Suddenly, I felt less confident. Turns out my definition of everything and the IRS definition of everything were very different. And that's when the rabbit hole began. Let's start with the one that made me feel the dumbest. Internet. Every single day I worked online. Video calls, file uploads, client communication, research, editing, invoices. Literally my entire business depended on internet access. Yet somehow, I never considered it a business expense. I paid for it every month without thinking. Like oxygen. Necessary. Invisible. Expensive. My accountant looked at me like I'd told him I drove a car but never bought gas. And unfortunately, that was only the beginning. Expense number 2. Phone bill. The next discovery hurt even more. My phone. Clients called me constantly. Sometimes at reasonable hours, sometimes at 9 p.m. on a Sunday, because apparently emergencies only happen when freelancers are trying to relax. Yet I never tracked phone expenses. Not once. I just paid the bill, month after month, year after year, like a financial sleepwalker. At this point, I started calculating numbers in my head, and I didn't like the answers. Expense number 3, software subscriptions. This one felt criminal. Not criminal legally, criminal emotionally. Adobe, Dropbox, cloud storage, project management tools, scheduling apps, AI tools, stock asset subscriptions. The average freelancer is basically subscribed to half the internet. I was spending hundreds every month. Hundreds! Yet somehow, my brain categorized them as normal life expenses. Apparently, my brain was operating without adult supervision.
The more I learned, the worse it got. Every discovery felt like finding money hidden under my couch cushions, except instead of couch cushions, it was years of neglected bookkeeping. I was excited, then embarrassed, then excited again, then embarrassed again. A very confusing emotional experience. And that's when things got weird, because the next expense wasn't digital. It was sitting right in front of me. My desk, my chair, my monitors, my office space. The tiny corner of my apartment where all my income magically appeared. For years, I treated it as furniture. Turns out, it was much more than that. The funny part? I spent hours researching the perfect ergonomic chair, weeks comparing monitor specifications, days watching YouTube reviews, but almost zero time learning how any of it affected my taxes. Peak freelancer behavior. This one made me laugh, then cry, then laugh again. My computer ran all day. Monitors, lights, internet equipment, charging stations. Everything consumed electricity. And because I worked from home, part of those utility costs could potentially be related to my business. The amount wasn't massive, but small leaks sink ships, and freelancers are experts at ignoring small leaks.
Around this time, I entered my grind set era. Big mistake. Social media convinced me every successful freelancer woke up at 4 a.m., worked 18 hours daily, meditated, read 3 books, ran a marathon, built 6 businesses, and somehow still had time to post motivational tweets. Meanwhile, I was celebrating because I remembered to eat lunch. I became obsessed with productivity. And productivity became expensive. Very expensive. I bought courses, lots of them. Editing courses, marketing courses, sales courses, business courses, courses teaching me how to sell courses. The internet is truly a magical place. Some were amazing. Some were disasters. One course basically charged $497 to tell me, get more clients. Thank you, Professor. Still, many professional education expenses were directly related to improving my freelance business, something I completely overlooked. Then came books. My bookshelf became a self-help museum. Business books, marketing books, freelancing books, psychology books, negotiation books. Books explaining why I wasn't reading the other books. You know the type. Every purchase felt productive, and many were genuinely useful. But I never connected them to my business records. Another missed opportunity. Then, I met Brandon. Not his real name. But if your name is Brandon and you're watching this, I'm sorry. Unless you're that Brandon, then you know what you did. Brandon hired me for a project. Simple enough. Or so I thought. Every day brought revisions. Then revisions to the revisions. Then meetings about future revisions. I spent more time talking about the work than doing the work. And that experience led directly to another forgotten expense. Zoom. Meeting tools.
communication software, scheduling system.
The tools required to survive endless client meetings. Without them, projects didn't happen. Yet, I barely tracked them. Mostly because I was too busy wondering why Brandon needed another meeting. Then my accountant asked, "What about business banking fees?" Silence. I genuinely forgot those existed. Monthly fees, transfer fees, payment processing costs, platform fees, transaction charges. Death by 1,000 tiny cuts. Freelancers see money entering accounts and celebrate. We rarely examine how much disappears on the way.
Then came the email, the one that changed everything. Subject line, tax balance due. My stomach dropped. Instantly. You know that feeling when reality punches you in the face? That. I opened it, read it once, twice, 3 times. Because surely I misunderstood. I had not misunderstood. The amount was real, painfully real. And suddenly, every forgotten expense mattered a lot. I entered full Freelancer survival mode. Spreadsheets everywhere. Receipts everywhere. Folders everywhere. Coffee consumption reaching medically concerning levels. I became a detective investigating my own financial history. And what I found shocked me. During productive months, I rented co-working spaces. I loved them. Fast internet, networking, human interaction, actual sunlight, a rare luxury for freelancers. Yet none of those expenses were organized properly. Another piece of the puzzle. Now, before anyone starts yelling, no, not every coffee counts. But when you're genuinely working and conducting business activities, certain expenses connected to business meetings or work situations may matter depending on circumstances. The key lesson? Keep records. Something younger me treated as an optional side quest. This category was enormous. Webcams, microphones, hard drives, monitors, keyboards, mice, backup drives, cables, adapters. Every freelancer owns a mysterious drawer containing $400 worth of adapters. Nobody knows why. It's simply part of the profession. Then came equipment repairs, laptop fixes, screen replacements, tech support, emergency upgrades. Because technology always breaks at the worst possible moment, usually 5 minutes before a deadline. It's a universal law.
At one stage, I genuinely believed freelancing had become a scam. Not because freelancing was bad, because I was running my business badly. Huge difference. Money came in, money disappeared. Stress increased, sleep decreased. My relationship with spreadsheets became emotionally complicated. I felt successful and broke simultaneously, which is surprisingly common among freelancers. The biggest irony? The accountant helping me find these savings was himself a business expense. So were legal consultations, tax preparation services, bookkeeping help, professional advice. The people who stop you from making expensive mistakes are often worth far more than they cost. Another thing I ignored: insurance. The world's least exciting purchase. Until the day you need it. Then, suddenly it's fascinating. Funny how that works. This category hit hard. Website hosting, domain names, portfolio tools, advertising, promotional materials, email platforms, lead generation tools. I spent years trying to get clients, yet I barely tracked the costs of getting those clients. The final revelation: local travel, client meetings, industry events, networking opportunities, business-related trips.
That experience completely changed how I operate. Now, every receipt has a place. Every subscription gets tracked. Every business purchase gets documented. Not because bookkeeping is fun. It isn't. Nobody wakes up excited about categorizing receipts. At least I hope not. But because financial clarity creates freedom. The more organized I became, the less stressed I felt. I stopped guessing, started planning, stopped reacting, started managing. And freelancing became dramatically less chaotic. Well, financially less chaotic. Clients are still clients. The funniest part of this entire story is that I spent years chasing bigger income, bigger clients, bigger projects, bigger months. Meanwhile, thousands of dollars were hiding inside expenses I already had. I wasn't missing opportunities. I was missing paperwork. And that's a much less exciting story. But it's also the truth. So if you're freelancing right now, staring at your laptop, drinking coffee that's been cold for 2 hours, wondering where all your money keeps going, maybe the answer isn't earning more. Maybe it's finally paying attention to the business you're already running. Because sometimes the biggest financial breakthrough isn't finding new money. It's finding the money you accidentally ignored. And trust me, that discovery feels a lot better than another productivity course you'll never finish.